everybody, it's Tina here from Hummingbird Tales. So as promised, I've brought the tags that I've done so far for the Anne Brooks challenge. Now Anne is on YouTube and she's also on Instagram, and she's a textile artist and she does amazing work. And last year I know she did, I think it was a roll on a spindle, and then at Christmas time she did like a 12 Days of Christmas and a little book, and I didn't have a chance to do all that. But I've been doing this, so I'll take them off the ring and show you them one by one. I'll try not to bore you. So this was the first week and the category was white. So all you had to do basically was get some bits of white and make a tag. We've all been using these little brown tags. We write on the back a little diary entry, and what I've been doing is writing really about how I've been getting on with the tags. So that's that one. And then week 2 was heart. So I found this bit of fabric in my stash. This is just seed stitch done in some glittery embroidery thread, and then I attached a button. There's a little bit of seam binding up here and this little white bit here, and I just sewed it on there with some little stitches. So that's number 2. Number 3 was Scrappy. Now this was quite interesting. It was very time consuming, but it was really easy. And basically you just folded your little bits of fabric, there's one there, in half, and then you would sew on the inside crease, and then the next one you would butt up right to the top there and just continue. And I did all of that in red. So I love the way that turned out. It reminds me of a little rug. And it would make quite a good rug actually if you did that. So that's 3. Then 4 was a fly stitch. So we learnt, or people that already knew, did a fly stitch, which is basically like a little Y shape. And I decided to do dandelions. This was inspired by one of the ladies that had already done her fly stitch. I thought, oh, that looked pretty. So I decided to have a go. And with this one here, I've got the little seed pods flying off there in the breeze. So that's 4. Week 5 was Kiss. And I don't know if you can see it. Yes, you can. But there is an X. Well, it's like a flower maybe motif, but it reminded me of a kiss on that piece of navy lace. So I used that as my inspiration for this. I attached a bit of vintage lace here with some French knots. I did more kisses or X's amongst that piece of blue lace, and then here I did a few X's up here, and then just some little tiny running stitches going down through. I really like the colours of that one. I thought that turned out quite nice. So yeah, that was week 5. Oh, that was week 5. Yep, that's right, 5. Now I've got them all the wrong way. Let's do it properly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Week 6 was buttons, or Anne said a bevel of buttons. So I did a really bright tag for this one. I just wanted to do red, yellow and green and use the contrasting threads to the buttons. So there's red on the yellow, yellow on the red, and then there's lime green on the dark green. And then this is attached to a piece of, I think it's upholstery type of fabric, and it's the back side, because the back side I found more colourful. And then I did the pistol stitch and some little French knots as well. I really enjoyed doing that one. That was great fun. Great fun. This week, number 7 was hexes. And we basically made little hexagon shapes, folded in, and then you would sew them on so that the folded bit is facing. I think this looks quite messy actually, but I did lots of different techniques on here. So you've got some beads, you've got pistol stitch, French knots there, French knots there, then little running stitches around, and then I did little no, actually I'll tell you what I did. I think I weaved a colour. I wove the pink in and out. Oh, I can't remember now. Do you know, it's so long ago. But I know I did a running stitch, and then I went on top with another colour, and I did the same on the outside. And on this one I put a little eyelet and added a little bead charm. So that was that. Week 8 was Bullion. Now I actually, Bullion, pistol and French knots. I really enjoyed making this tag. and my bullion knots turned out quite well, and I found them quite easy. So it was a sprig of lavender that inspired this, but I've done it, I didn't have a lavender colour thread, so I used blue, and I did it like a field of flowers with all these different flowers. There's like a Queen Anne's lace up here, and then I did a little butterfly there. And I mean, you can see how tiny these are because that's my hand. You know, they're very small, but such good fun. So that was that one. Really enjoyed that one. This next one was scraps, and you had to put scraps of your choice on the tag. And at the time I was working on the winter journal, so I used some of the fabrics that were on the desk. So this is like a piece of organza with some applique and beads and what they called sequins on. There's a piece up there. There's a little charm there with love. So I sort of sewed this chain on roughly, and there's a heart there, and I love this. Can't remember where I got that from, so I dangled that off. And I love lace. So there's pieces of lace here, there's some eyelash trim, and then there's this aqua piece of fabric that I was using to line some of my little mini journals, and there's some silver sort of ribbon there. So I really enjoyed that one as well. But the weeks are getting harder, I have to say. What did I write about this one? Okay, so this one was done the 7th of March, and it was Suffolk puff, and I've seen people do these, and this is the first time I'd ever made a Suffolk puff. So I did make a few mistakes on a few others, and then these were the best out of a few that I had made that I put on here. And because it was coming into springtime, I found that the greens and the lemons, and there's more green here, and the pinks really spoke to me. So I put a button, lemon button on this one. That one I've done some little pink knots, and then I've done fly stitch here in lemon and there, and pink there. So that was quite enjoyable as well. Now this was a really weird one, and I found this really tricky actually. It was circles, and it's basically using anything that's a circle. So it could be a key ring. I don't think I've got anything here. Anne had a box of washers. I think that one and that one, and possibly that one were washers. That was a keyring ring, but she showed us how to over sew on them. And I found this, it's like a woolen, what they call upholstery fabric, navy, and I put the white lace on, and then I did my circles like that, and I quite like that, but it was really hard. I found that one really difficult. Then week 12 was blanket stitch. But what Anne was showing us was, I've always used blanket stitch to go around an edge, and she was showing us how to use it as a decorative stitch. So I thought about, again, a field of flowers, and I did the blanket stitch going up through, and I used bits of, that's tulle, that's some organza, sewed them on with a little cross stitch so they were bigger flowers. Then I've got little clouds here, excuse me, in white. It's like a nylon-y sort of fabric, and they're clouds. So some little black birds, which actually look more like bats now I'm looking at them again. But this was fun to do. I really enjoyed that, and I found that one quite quick to do as well. The next one I did was layers. Now I've got so many layers on here that I have lost some of the fabrics, but if you look really closely, like you can see in behind here, there's a bit of gold. It was like a gold swirl fabric. There's some upholstery stuff here and here. There's bits of lace. I tacked that one on. I love this little bird or parrot in a metal ring, so I sort of attached that with stitching. I've got a little what they called jump ring there with a little charm, and it's just layers and layers and layers on top. I did a lot of stitching on this one. There's some little flowers down there, so that was like golds and mustard and cream, and that was definitely inspired by Anne, because I think hers that week was that colour. Then, pardon me, week 14, let's see what I wrote about this. So this one I've written, so my favourite place, oh that was it. We had to do treasure, a pocket, treasure and favourite place. So I used blues because I love blue, it's my favourite colour. I love this little butterfly that you get on some of the old doilies. So that was one cut out that I found that I thought, yep, I'll have that. It's a bit difficult to see, but underneath here is a snippet, a piece of snippet that I'd done a long time ago in blues and creams when I made a winter journal for Karen O'Reilly. So I stitched some little pistol stitches on here and some bullion French knots to make some flowers, and there's lace and all on that, and there's a piece of lace there. And the reason why I've pinned it is because my treasure in my pocket is actually, see if you can see it, yeah, it's a Peter Rabbit 50p piece, there we go, that my daughter gave me. Now she's 16, and when she was at school last year, all of these 50p's were coming out, and she would come home and give me some, so I've given some out as gifts. But I really love this one, so I kept that, and it kept falling out of the pocket, so I just put a pin on there just so it doesn't get lost. But that was fun to do, so I really enjoyed that. And my favorite place is anything in the nature, so the flowers represented nature to me. Week 15 was Miniscape. This one is also a favorite. In fact, my mum has asked me to make her a bookmark like this, but I haven't done it yet. And with this, we use different bits of fabric to create like a little piece of scenery. So as I live in Cornwall, I was inspired by the engine houses. I've used a little bit of it's like roving wool for clouds, and just tack that on as best I can. Again, I've done my birds or my bats, whatever you want to call them. And then I used a bit of it's green crocheted lace here, and then sewed over it with some brownie sort of thread to create a fence. This here is my take on gorse, because in Cornwall we have a lot of gorse bushes, and they're like very prickly bushes with little tiny yellow flowers that come out in the spring. And then down here I've got some green cheesecloth that I dyed, and I sewed loads of little beads on and did some little French knots to make it like a field of flowers. So I really do love that. That was great fun. Week 16 was seed stitch. So for this one, I think looking back, Anne did circles, and you basically, I think she put a couple of buttons on her fabric, and then you leave them in place. You do your little seed stitches around, and then you remove them. So what I did was I actually cut out some butterflies from card and pinned them on. It was quite fine card. This was also done on the back of a piece of vintage quilt with a blue piece of aqua fabric on top. So I think you can see the butterflies, and that was quite quick actually, even though there's a lot of stitches on there. That was quite a good one. So week 17 was couching, and we had to look at our tags and see what colours we were sort of lacking. And I see I'm doing a lot of blue and aqua, which isn't a surprise for me really. So I decided to do reds because the Scrappy one was red, and I did reds, golds and creams. And it was just about couching down bits of fabric rolled up. I've got some bits of thread, some sari silks, all sorts of things there. And I tried to do different stitches so that it made it really varied. And did I enjoy that? I was actually going like crazy to catch up because I was quite a few weeks behind. But I really enjoyed that one. Now this one is the worst one I've done so far for actual enjoyment value. This was really, really hard, probably because I've got fake nails, false nails, and anybody that wears gel nails or acrylic nails know that they're quite thick compared to normal nails, and trying to hold little tiny bits and pieces with them is really difficult. So what we had to do was we had to make tiny, it was basically mini patchwork of hexagons. So we had to cut out tiny hexagons from paper, fold the fabric around and tack them, and then we had to stitch them all together and take the paper out. Sounds easy. I've done lots of patchwork in the past, but because they're so tiny, I mean, there's my baby nail, and you can see how tiny these little hexagons are. And then I just chose blues. There's one here with love, that one says hugs, and then I just sewed over it with white stitching, and that was also done on a vintage piece of quilt as well. That drove me around the twist and took quite a long time, but it's done. And I think the thing I found about this course that she's doing is, because we're halfway through now, it's actually teaching me so much, and it's challenging me, it's pushing me. And even though I hate doing some of the tags, you want to get it done because you want to keep up, and you know, you learn something new every week. So even if you're repeating past stitches, the way that you actually put them into composition or the themes or whatever, you're learning something new. So this week was words. I put, grr, this tag did my head in. It's taken several goes to get the words right. Glad it's done. I'm starving, need some food. So I did faith, and this was all done in back stitch on layered fabric. Again, this is pink and greens, and I love this piece of fabric here, so it went on there. Then underneath was hope. That's got a green sort of sheer background, and I sewed that on some rust dyed fabric that I had. And then underneath I've got love, and that's on green with this patterned under there, and I've got a little bit of lace sticking out underneath there, crocheted lace, so it is meant to be straight. But yeah, it's done, finished. Week 20 was Pekingese. Now I kept this quite plain because I used quite a fussy background fabric with a lot of gold and shine in it. I just used red and gold, and again what we did was we adhered circles, and sometimes we did the stitches inside, sometimes we did the stitches outside. So I think that was done inside, that was done outside. So you've got like a ripply curly thing going on inside there, if you can see that, and it's coming on the outside there. So I kept it quite, you know, basic, but it was a good practice. I don't think I particularly enjoyed that. No, I had a stressful morning and took my dog to the vets that particular morning, but I said that it calmed me down and it relaxed me, so that was good. And then week 21 is bullion knots. This is the second one that I hate. I love the tag, but I hated doing it. Now the bullion knots I found quite easy to do on a flat, but the whole thing of this was to have them so that they actually went round an edge, so that could stand quite proud. I did stitch that bit down there, and trying to get these to be neat and come over, and I started with dark purple and then graded the colors up to like a pinky purple at the top there, and again just layered up some contrasting colors, did some different stitches. I've got the dark green as the background, and you can see the other piece there sticking out, and these are tiny weeny seed stitches. But this bit took me an age, and I'm glad it's done. And last but not least, layered lace. So I'm a couple weeks behind. There's 2 tags now I need to do to catch up, so I'm going to get one of them done tomorrow. This one was layered lace, and it was to pick up again favorite bits of lace. So I've used mainly vintage here. I've got a very small collection of vintage lace, and they're so precious, and I thought, well, why not? You know, this is for me after all. So I've got a piece here, then I've got another bit of lace there, and I put some little bronze beads on there, then another bit of lace here. I've got a little crocheted bit of doily with one of those butterflies in it again. They're quite small, that one is. If I compare it to, you can see the difference in size of the butterflies to that white one to that one. And then I've done another row of the beads, and there's another bit of lace here, and the background, that was the bottom of it, of the piece of fabric that I used. I think it was from like a tray cloth, or, you know, one of those things you stick over the arms of a chair, and that was actually around the bottom edge, but I put it on the top. And then I put a bronze butterfly on there as well to sort of match it in, and I put love. And I said I skipped a week as we were in the, oh yeah, so I did this tag before I did this one because I was out in the car stuck in traffic, and I thought, well, I'll do that one. And this one was I was in the middle of doing this one at home, so that was actually done before that one, but it's after that one. So there's my tag so far. So, you know, go over and check Anne Brooks out. I mean, her work is amazing, but she's so good. She teaches us all these things. And even if you already know how to embroider, it's just so fun to see what everybody else comes up with, because you can use what she does. Like if she does a circle and you just want to do a circle, there's nothing wrong with that. Or you can use the technique that she's showing you or the theme to inspire you to do your very own thing. It's up to you. So there's my tags. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back again very soon. Take care, everybody, and lots of love. Bye. Bye.